Hey everyone, Dave, Bluejacket 66 here for another video. It's going to be a pretty long video. It's got a variety of things. It's going to show off some recent acquisitions, talk about some contest stuff, do some news, do some controversial stuff, lay out a few Easter eggs, rant a little bit. So unfortunately this isn't one of those you just kind of take 10 minutes. I think this would be a long one that maybe I have to watch a couple times. Doesn't mean you'll miss out on any contest stuff as long as you just eventually watch the whole thing. And I tend to be a little bit sneaky with that. So first thing, had some mail from George S. Mail. Again, sent me a bunch of George Bretts for my George Brett PC. Thank you very much, George. Appreciate that. E-S-M-A-I-L. Call me Ismail. George Ismail. Sending me some stuff and keep me up on the George Brett stuff. I appreciate that. What else through the mail? I got a bunch going on in this video. Just chill out and turn it off, turn it back on, but a whole bunch going on here. I've been looking for this. This is a Philadelphia Bulletin Pinups Glossy of Robin Roberts. Now, the Philadelphia Bulletin newspaper did a lot of things with those Phillies back in 1950, 51. There was all sorts of there was really cool newspaper cutouts of players and bios and neat things you could cut out and collect. But this, I believe, was a send out. It's the exclusive Bulletin Sports pinup, and I believe you had to send away from that. And it's like an 8x10. So I have the complete set of these. And I can't remember how many there are, to be honest with you. 25 or so. You know, it's got the Ashburn, which would be a very early card of his, or item of his, as well as Roberts. And I've had that, so I've literally been looking for this glossy, this Inquirer Pinups Bulletin of Robin Roberts, literally for 5 or 6 years. And I saw it on eBay with an Ashburn, and they wanted a price for both of them. So I messaged the guy, hey, what would you take for just the Roberts? And he told me, and I'm sure the price is high, but what do you do? And it's not extremely rare or pricey, but as far as rare, I don't know. I mean, I literally have not seen one of these in 6 years. So anyway, I bought it and went to find get the binder to put it in with the rest, and finally had this complete set and put it to rest. And I can't find the binder. And in the back of my mind, I have this worry that I actually just gave up on it years ago and just sold the incomplete set. I think maybe I did. I can't say for sure. I don't know. But so that prompted me to clean out this thing and do some cleaning in the closet, which I found all sorts of cool things. But I didn't find the rest of this set, and I'm really bummed because I worry that I've been waiting 6 years and I finally found one, and now I can't find the rest of the set. And I have a creeping suspicion that I may have sold that. I don't keep everything because I like buying new stuff, so I don't turn things over. I'm not a flipper type, but I have things that I've had for a long time. It's just time. Okay, it's time for it to go. So I worry that that's what I happened. Okay, what else here? Okay, I was at, me and my son like going to antique malls and goof around last week, and you never find anything, or I never find anything, but I did find this. The 69 Topps tattoo of Reggie Jackson. Found that for a few bucks, and it's worth a little more than a few bucks, so that was cool. Hey, I just found this. Is there any Kent Herbeck fans. I found this 95 Donruss auto. It's a sticker auto. Donruss Greats. If anybody's a Herbeck fan or Twins fan, just shoot me your email below, and the first one that says they want it, I'll send it out to you when I can. I'm not real quick about sending stuff out, but I tend not to forget. Okay. Kind of excited about this. Here's a 77 Brett in a PSA 9 I picked up for a few bucks. So, you know, his 75 is so expensive, and that 76 is brutal. But after that, they've become less and less. And this is just a beautiful card. So PSA 9, 77 Brett, which brings me to this, the 76 Topps Brett, which I've had on my want list for a couple of years to try to get centered, number one, which is impossible. Ask New York Yanks fan 7. So I've had it on my eBay want list, and they come up in, I think, 7 or 8s, and they just come up, and they're off centered. And this one came up, and it's pretty damn well centered, and it's in an 8 with a qualifier, a PD print defect qualifier. But it's an 8, and it's so pretty, and it's so nicely centered. Is it perfectly centered? No, but it's what I would want. And I have stared at this card, and I have no idea what print defect they're talking about. The only thing, I mean, there's no big fish eyes anywhere. There's just nothing there. The only thing I can see is maybe just a touch of snow there. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see what the qualifier is, and it doesn't really matter. Without the qualifier, this is what, a $400 centered, $400 card, and I got it for, you know, way less than 100. And it's pretty well centered, and it looks like an 8, and that's the whole idea, right? So I'm pretty excited about that. Yep, it's got a qualifier, but so a couple Bretts there. I got a couple Trouts. Got the 2013 Bowman Chrome Blue Refractor, the 9. And the 2013 Topps Chrome Orange Refractor in a 10. And I kind of think I'm done buying Trouts. Okay. You know, when I was doing my closet clean, I found this. Super cool. This is out of New Musical Express magazine. It's dated June 16th, 1979. And it's introducing Candio, the new album from the Cars. So it's an advertisement from June of 1979. Came right out of this music periodical. On the back, it's some other album that's promoting. So I don't know anything about this, but I've had this for some time, and it's my favorite album. So I'm gonna get that. I found it in my closet, so I'm gonna get that framed. So should I move on to news? Oh, okay. I dig this big time. So I just got this in the mail. The 1970 Kellogg's 3D football O.J. Simpson, which would be his rookie, right? So that is not the 1970 Topps image that we all know. So it's a different image. So the relevance of why I show that is that this card that I'll now put in this binder I think I will. Makes for complete set. So here's the complete set of the 1970 Kellogg's 3D football. Now in 1970, that's my favorite, that's the first year I started. I had 69s and maybe some 68s, but as far as football, 70 was my year. They were all over my wall. I told you that before. And who did I want? I wanted Lynn frickin' Dawson, and we'll talk about that more. This is not the same image as his Topps card. However, some of these are. I think this Butkus, I think that's the same image on the Butkus. Maybe not. I think that the Alex Karras is the same image. The Greasy isn't. I'm pretty certain that the Jan Stenerud, because I wanted the Chiefs. That's what I wanted. That is the same image. The Mike Garrett, I'm not sure. The Matt Snell. It seemed like when we were opening those packs in 1970, Max Snell by the dozens. Also would get Greg Cook like crazy, I remember. But Sonny Jurgensen, really wanted him. Hated the Raiders, although getting a Darryl LaMonica was okay. Here's Unitas. Here's that Greg Cook card. I'm telling you, every pack of 70 football I opened up seemed to have this Greg Cook in there. But complete set of 60 of 60. So talk about beautiful. You know, these Kellogg's 3Ds, some of them aren't so great, but these 1970 footballs, I mean, they gleam and they pop and they're bright and they're crisp and they look fantastic. So this is, I'm not really a set binder kind of guy, but this is the type of things that I love, being in the binders and looking through. So that was cool. We're gonna do some Mahomes stuff, and I'm gonna go off on the Chiefs a little bit. I think I want to do some news first, but when I was in my closet, I found these old, so growing up down at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, every Sunday they had All-Star Wrestling. And Bill Kirkston was the announcer. The scrawny little guy in a suit was their announcer. And so every Sunday after church, we'd hurry home and Johnny Quest would be on, and then wrestling would be on. So here's a whole bunch of, I guess, playbills or what you would get at the venue about who was wrestling that day. And I think my dad got these for me for Christmas years and years and years and years ago. I guess the only unfortunate thing, not that there's an unfortunate thing, is these all tend to be from 1978 and 79. You know, in 1979, my tennis coach, I think, he pulled me out to the car and said he wanted me to listen to something. And he pulled out this demo tape of this group that his brother played in. And so he played this demo tape, and I was freaking blown away. And so I listened to this demo tape 7 months before their first album came out. Huge in Kansas City. And this band was this far from being one of the biggest bands ever. I don't know if they just came out a year late or two, but if you can tell me, and you know how I do Easter eggs, if you can tell me who that group is, and I think, just watch the video, you'll get it. I will send you, the first one who gets it, how about a complete set of 1977 Topps cloth stickers. But anyway, Let's see. Bulldog Bob Brown was big. Harley race. Initially he was Mad Dog race. Then he was a good guy. He was Handsome Harley race. He lived by me. I remember we'd be driving. He lived very close to me. Whenever we drove by his house, I would cower down in the car and look up, and sometimes I would see him working in his window. He was what, 3 or 4 time world champion, probably one of the most famous wrestlers ever. I remember one time we were down at what's called the Metcalf Mall, which is now closed, down at 95th and Metcalf in Overland Park, Kansas, where I'm from, and we're at the mall in Macy's or Sears or someplace, and my dad says there's Harley race over there, and I was terrified. Went and tried to hide in the closing rack. My dad he was like, come on, let's go, just go say time. Tell me you're a big fan, because he and Janie Little Bear were the kind of the guys that opposed each other, and Race was always a bad guy, and that's back when they really cut themselves with razors and the real blood. It was the real freaking deal, as far as, I don't know, it wasn't the real freaking deal. It was fake, but the blood was real. So I kind of walked up to Harley Race, and I turned around to grab my dad's hand, because I was like 7 or 8, and my dad was not there. I ran. Okay. Let's do some YouTube news. This is tongue-in-cheek. Don't take it seriously. Whatever. For fun. But I think earlier this year, we were all very, very concerned about what happened to Caitlin. Certainly a YouTube staple, an expert. Listen to your videos, watch your videos, comment, and her videos are fantastic, of the greatest production and content. So all of a sudden she disappeared as of January, it seemed like, maybe February. So I inquired to people, where is she? Where is she? And nobody knew, and even at the national, nobody knew. So Bluejacket 66 Investigations looked into it. And high on our suspicion list, doing our investigation, was the question of whether Caleb, of Caleb's cards, had her hostage and was keeping her underneath his bunk bed. I always found it suspicious that in the background is this bunk bed, and it's always kind of disheveled. And my suspicions grew and grew that he was actually teasing us, much like an arsonist who would go across the street and watch a fire burn, or someone would return to the scene of the crime, or even a graveside ceremony, that maybe he was teasing us, and that this is where Caitlin was, underneath his bunk bed. So we investigated that, and it was a big deal, the SWAT team and all, and it ended up, no, Caitlin was not underneath his bunk bed being held hostage. Matter of fact, there was nothing underneath his bed except for like a full run of Maxim magazines. Anyway, so we moved on from there, and eventually we did find her. Bluejacket 66 Investigations, in cooperation with local authorities, got the job done. And eventually we traced her to this garbage bin that's in a parking lot of a public library in a small Indiana town. She had been kept there hostage against her will. And when she was found, she was in remarkably good shape, very healthy, no harm done. But, all she could say over and over again was deep thoughts, deep thoughts, deep. It's like she'd been brainwashed. So it took a couple months to kind of cleanse and recondition her. But as you can see, she's back online and she's fine. And this is where she was ultimately found, but she's in great shape, and we're happy to have helped to find her. The perpetrator for this, it sounds like he was fully punished. Sounds like he had his Wi-Fi taken away for 3 months in his home. So lesson learned there. What else is in the news? This is a rough one, a real rough one. But this case here, the saga with Jimmy Guns and Jimbei 1. I don't know if you've been following it and watching Guns' videos. Jimbei does not make videos. We don't really hear what he has to say, but it was a rough confrontation. And there was a lot of back and forth on it, and I hope YouTubers weren't taking side, but it all seemed to work out. And I hope everything works out for all YouTubers involved. Unfortunately for Jimbei, the end was terrible. It's my understanding from our investigation that Jimbei went over to Jimmy Guns' house for a final confrontation. I think it was a week ago, last Saturday. And they sat down back on the back porch, and another confrontation happened. There was flaring, there was words said, and essentially Jimmy dunked Jimbei in a large vat of Hellmann's and ate Jimbei in 3 bites. Gone. I think it was a record. But. So that's over with, and it's good that the air's cleared. I don't know if it worked out as well as we should for all, but more news and more investigative reporting. Here's something very interesting. I think you guys are probably thinking the same thing I am. This is Tony Robbins, but is it really? I have the suspicion, and Bluejacket 66 has been investigating, that actually Nolan, Elite Go 3, is Tony Robbins. Let me ask you, have any of you ever seen Tony Robbins and Nolan in the same room at the same time? I nailed it. All right. Any more news here? It seems like all news is bad news, and I don't mean for it to be that way. It's just the way it's panning out on this episode. Here's one this thing goes deep. But the little rift, and it's subtle. It's below the surface. It's no name said. It's this subtle rift between Jason, zombie collector, and Mike, baseball collector. You guys watch the videos, and you sit there, and there's a little bit of uncomfortable because it's there. It's palpable. So Bluejacket 66 investigations, with a little help from Jab's family, who'll be doing the merchandising and the ticketing, have decided, and these two gentlemen have decided, just to settle it once and for all, the week of the upcoming National in the swamps of Jersey. They're going to have it out in Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Mike and Jason have agreed to it. There'll be a host, of course, just like the movie Weaponry above this. The dome is being built at this time somewhere in Jersey, is my understanding. I hope that this settles it once and for all. But I think it's best. It's just enough of this stuff. 2 men in, 1 man out. Thunderdome. Again, Jab's family is going to be doing the ticketing. It's my understanding they're going to be doing all the merchandising, and they've said they guarantee that if satisfaction is guaranteed, and if you're not 100% completely satisfied, they will reimburse your, I think it's $100 ticket price. They will reimburse you with $5 worth of merchandise of their choice if you're not satisfied. So about 5% back, that's about how they run it. So there it is, Thunderdome, the two men. I admire them both greatly, and we'll see how this should be a big event. It should probably be the highlight of the National. So next we're going to show some cards, and I'll probably turn the camera around for this, but before I want to talk a little bit about my Kansas City Chiefs. I was 7 years old for the 1969-1970 season, and I remember sitting in 10711 West 96th Street, right off of Bluejacket, watching that Super Bowl. I remember that I watched the Super Bowl. I don't remember anything about the game. But I do remember this, and this is how important the current Chiefs are to me, and especially Patrick Mahomes, that we'll talk about. Dawson, Lynch, Garrett, Flores, McVay, Hayes, Loeffner, Taylor, Tyler, Buchanan, Bob Lanier, Mays, Livingston, Holmes, Coppertone, Mitchell, Stein, Belser, Podolak, Buddy, Moore, McJosh, Holla, Bell, Sellers, Urbanus, Marcellus, McClinton, Daney, Wilson, Stenerud, Kearney, Hurston, Thomas, Richardson, Hill, and Johnny Robinson. Those are all the participating members of the 1970 world champion Kansas City Chiefs. And I remember those names when I was 7 years old, and now I'm 57, and I can name them, rip them off just like I could 50 years ago. It's been a long time for the Chiefs fans. I know you Bengals fans, and you Vikings fans, and you Cleveland fans, I know, but we're not here to talk about your little league teams. We're here to talk about the Chiefs that are going to be Super Bowl contenders again and have the best quarterback in the NFL. He's a godsend to Kansas City, and I am super, super excited, and I'm going to brag on him and show him some cards. Who got me guided on the cards was, of course, the guru of those back pages, who I text a lot. I text earlier on the year, hey, what should I be buying him of Mahomes and whatnot, and I keep touch with him. So why are we so excited about Mahomes? Never mind that the whole freaking world is talking about him. But my quarterback that I showed you in that Topps 3D, or that Kellogg's 3D, was Len Dawson. When I pulled a card, I wanted Len Dawson. After that, I wanted a Chief, and then I would move down to, I want Roman Gabriel, or I want, Sonny Jurgensen, or Fran Tarkenton, or whatever. But Len Dawson was the man, and he was the quarterback from 1963 to 1972. And since then, we haven't had jack shit for quarterbacks. And now we finally have a quarterback who can lead us to a Super Bowl. I know we've had good teams since then, some good teams, but if you don't have a quarterback, you ain't going. So let's run through this. So Dawson from 63 to 72, and he actually played, a year with the Texans when he came up from Hank Stram. I'm so old that I had a Dallas Texans team picture with Hank Stram when they were down there in Dallas before they came to Kansas City. 1973 to 75 was kind of a Dawson Mike Livingston, where Mike Livingston, he hung around all those Dawson years as a backup, and then Dawson started getting hurt later on in his career, so they were kind of splitting it. And then the Livingston years, Livingston kind of had the team to himself pretty much from 1976 to 78. It's not happening with Mike Livingston. He was a backup under Len Dawson. I know Len Dawson's a Hall of Famer, but 79 to 83, those were the Steve Fuller, Bill Kinney years. 1983 to 87 was the Bill Kinney, Steve Blackledge years. (1988 to 1991 was the Steve DeBerg years. And I'm going to say, I kind of like Steve DeBerg. He's got an older guy, and he tried hard. He had a pretty good arm. I kind of liked him. Thank God, in 1993 to 94, the Kansas City Chiefs had Joe Montana. And that 93 year was thrilling. Made it to the AFC Championship. 1995 to 98, Steve Bono, Elvis Gerbeck, and Rich Gannon. Damn it, it's been painful. It's not been Cleveland painful, but it's painful. Kansas City, we're a frickin' football town. 2001 to 2006, Trent Green, pretty serviceable quarterback, really. 2007 through 2012, Matt Castle, thank you very much, New England fucking Patriots, assholes. and 2013 on Alex Smith. Now, when we got Alex Smith, I knew one thing. We were never going to the Super Bowl. We may have a pretty good team. He could run around a little bit. Yeah, he could dump off those 5-yarders, but we were never going to the Super Bowl. But with this man, we have, what, 10 plus years that we're going to be some serious contenders should he stay healthy. And guess what? I'm all in on his cards. All in. I've waited 50 years for a Kansas City Chiefs quarterback. 50 years. Listen, I used to go to the United Super and go to the mall and whatever. Who would be in there? Buddy Bell would be in there. Buck Buchanan. I'd see Len Dawson. These guys used to walk. They're ordinary guys who played football. They're Hall of Famers. But back in those days, they had other jobs and they went to the freaking grocery store themselves. I've been waiting 50 years. And Patrick Mahomes is going to bring it home for the Chiefs. I'm all in. I'm spending buku bucks. I don't care because I'm digging it. I'm happy, and that's what it's all about. And if he never goes to the Super Bowl, I got a lot of happiness riding on it. So let's look at some Mahomes cards. Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, number one, it's 2018 Panini Prisms. I think it's the Honors, the red one, numbered to 5. That just came in the mail today. Stoked. This just came into the mail today. It's 2017, that'd be his rookie. Panini Donruss Optic, the red, numbered to 99. And I'm finding myself gravitating as far as these color parallels going toward the red, because it just looks so good in the Chiefs uniform with that. This was mailed to me. It was thrown in a bubble mailer and mailed. So, but he wrote, "Do not bend" on it, like, Jesus. So he was a eBay seller who had 13 total transactions. So I looked it over, thank God. We've talked about this. They're gonna get crushed if you don't wrap them in bubble wrap or put some cardboard around them or throw some something in there to beef that up. Otherwise they go through the rollers. I was amazed that this wasn't shredded. So I sent him a message saying, look, people are going to give you negatives or at least neutrals if you keep mailing them, you know, $300 cards like that they expect good packaging. And I still gave him a positive. He emailed me back something. It wasn't too snarky. I was expecting it to be, but it wasn't. It just said essentially to each his own, and he hadn't had anybody unhappy yet, but thanks for the criticism or something like that. But anyway. I know those back pages is watching this, and I salute him. I'm really happy with this one. Actually, this one came in today. 3 cards coming in. This is the 2017 Panini Prisms stained glass. And it won't really show in this video, but it's stained glass, and it really gets the shine and the colors going. It's not numbered, but I love that. Love that. I'm not going to show all my Mahomes, but I'll show ones that I've gotten here recently. This is the 2017 Panini Donruss Optic. The red yellow. And I think this the regular Prism number 269 it's gotten to be extraordinarily expensive. His prices are like freaking skyrocketing. And so I think the prices are starting to move over to these optics. So that's the red yellow. And that's the lime green. Eric would know. I think the lime green just came like in blasters, I think, or maybe hangers or something like that. So I'm super excited. Here's a couple of the super hot ones. These things have freaking exploded. The Panini Prism, you know, these silvers, they're just, there's a 9 and a 10. And they're, I wonder if they're close to peaking out, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. They've gone from, you know, the 10, I don't know, a month ago it was $300. Now people are getting $1,400 for them. Raw, just one of these raw. Good luck getting one for what, $350 now? So anyway, this is his hottest card. And I'm super happy about this. Here's my best one. I showed this to Eric. This is a 17 Panini Prism Rookie Auto Red Power, numbered to 49. An on-card auto. This thing is crazy. I mean crazy. I can't imagine me getting a Mahomes card better than this one. Luckily, I got on it, I think, early. Who knows what's going to happen, right? You never, I mean, I'm not speculating. I told you I'm 100% in on Mahomes because I'm 100% a Chiefs guy, always have been, and it's freaking time. So, those are some of my Mahomes, not all. And am I still buying Mahomes? Yeah, I've got a couple more already on the way, 2 or 3, and I'm going to be still looking. I think I'm going to move into the 2017 selects a little bit. Just makes me happy. It makes me very happy. So that's what it's about. And let me just say this again. If these cards drop off in value, I don't care. As long as the Chiefs, we see them in the playoffs, and they're in the public eye, because it's been a long time, and I'm ready. So, a lot in this video. It's a pretty long video. So, yep, I know I'm over 1,000 subscribers. I'm working on it. And, you should know when the 1,000 subscriber video is going to be released. Should know that. We'll see. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. Okay, well, before we sign off, let's go ahead and just play one game of Bluejacket 66. Do you know your YouTubers? Get an idea, you know, if you know their nuances, you know what they like, what they don't dislike. So today's episode, we'll talk about music. So we have, we're gonna talk about Do You Know, Rave from Philly, Bluejacket 66, I'll throw myself in there, MP Fox, Filmington, and Psyched on Baseball Cards. And here's some groups that we kind of think of when we think of those people. So we'll do it together. I think you guys can take a look at it, and then we'll do it here. Let's start with Rave from Philly. Boston. He actually commented on my last video. My last video had some Boston in it. I know Ray loves Boston. Ray's a guitarist, has played in some very successful bands, and he loves the Boston. Psyched on baseball cards down here, you guys know? Tony? I only got one answer for that. The Commodores. Tony, you know, he's easy like Sunday morning, no question. Me, Bluejacket 66, you guys know? Yep, the Cars. So, you get the idea. Do you know, how well do you know your fellow YouTubers? MP Fox? You guys will watch their videos. Kiss. So, that's awkward. Just end it here.